Welcome everyone. We're starting in 30 seconds. So good evening to some, good morning to some. All right, let's start. Okay. Let's see. All right, hello everyone. Welcome in. Welcome to this webinar on how to attract power couple type of relationships. My name is Elena. And welcome also to the Conscious Relationships call. I'm a friend with Veronica. We used to be in the same mastermind. So I'm very grateful for her to give us this opportunity to connect and to share and to discuss these important topics. Okay, so how about I just want to know a little bit about you as well. If you'd like to put in the comments, maybe your name and where you're joining from. Mm-hmm. Mhm. All right. And as you're doing that, I'll tell you about myself a little bit. So, as I said, all right. From Netherlands. Great. Welcome. So, my name is Elena, as I said, and I'm a wellness and relationship coach. So, I've been in wellness over 20 years, studying and teaching different modalities. Oh, Netherlands. Welcome. Sweden. Welcome. From Slovakia, Richard. Great to see you guys. So I also see that it's men and women are joining, which is great. It is, I designed it a bit more for women, but men will benefit as much, I would say, because it really works with masculine and feminine energies, which is in all of us, right? So it's not really gender specific. So welcome all ladies and gentlemen. Great. So I started to talk a little bit about myself before we get into it. So I've been a wellness coach for over 20 years. As I said, different modalities, yoga, fitness, biohacking, nutrition, hormonal balancing, all of that. And I realized also about 6 years ago that relationship is really a huge part of wellness and well-being. So I started to study relationship, and I got certified with Mars Venus Institute with Jones Gray. You're probably familiar with his work. He's known for Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, but he wrote a lot more books than that. And I also studied with other teachers, big teachers as well. A lot of my education is more like almost like in spiritual realm, like Tantra and Tao, different yogic practices and meditations. And I love to bring this into this type of coaching as well, into the relationship coaching, because like understanding a subconscious mind, as you hear from my presentation, is as important as like what we're doing with our conscious mind, like setting intentions and like, thinking about some strategies and rules. All right, so one of other great teachers who I studied with is David Data. Again, he's more of the spiritual realm and Tantra. Alison Armstrong, she talks about evolutionary biology. So I love bringing together science and art and that spirituality. Okay, so let's get into the presentation. I'd like to know actually what. My slides are not clicking. Okay. What is power couple relationship for you? So what I put here, you can see it now, I'm sure. So if you tell me a couple words about what power couple relationship represents for you, what are we craving these days? Why, like, just regular relationship or old school relationship are not working for us anymore? What are you craving in this kind of like new age relationships that so I would say that are not just for survival, right, but they for amplifying, for the mutual growth, So if you can put in the chat what's important for you in this power couple dynamic that you are craving. So I put some words that are important for me. You can choose from those, or also I'd like to hear what does power couple represent for you. For me, I put like it's the safety and security of the bond, of course, the love, the passion, stability, mutual growth and amplification of those qualities we want to develop, or purpose, right? Amplification on our purposes, stability, intimacy, growth. Thank you. And of course, it's important that it's based in joy, in pleasure, that there is that also mutual responsibility and commitment, love, understanding, loyalty, emotional support. Thank you guys for sharing. I'm just gonna read some of the comments. Safety, security, inspiration, and exclusivity. Great. All right. So thank you for sharing this, and let's talk why is it hard? Why does it seem harder than before to build this type of relationships? It's so it almost seems like, you know, women really embracing the leadership role, right? Becoming very independent, stepping into like the masculine qualities, embracing them within ourselves. Too much individualism. That's so true. But okay, so let's talk about it. So yes, too much individualism. That's actually exactly what I put here, just in different words. So what I'm saying, that actually nothing went wrong, because sometimes it might feel like there is like a glitch in the system. It's like, what's happening? Why we are getting so good separately, right? But we cannot connect and create the beautiful bonds anymore. So what I'm saying is it's actually nothing went wrong. This is a good and normal evolution of consciousness. And where we evolving, as you said, individualism, but I call it wholeness. So as we embracing other qualities, like as a woman, as I'm embracing more masculine qualities, right? I'm becoming more independent, self-assured. I might run a business. I become a leader. I make my own money. I buy my own properties. All right, like it's the traditional masculine qualities. And again, when I talk masculine and feminine, it's traditional, but it also goes all the way back into that original, like yin and yang forces, if you're familiar with those, right? So yin and yang, masculine and feminine, which is in all of us. So originally the masculine is more of that drive and achievement, reaching the goal, very like linear type of consciousness, with the feminine being more emotional, soft, flowing, expanding. So everything that changing in nature, it's like feminine quality. Everything that like stable, ground, power, space, consciousness, awareness, that's more like, that's masculine qualities. Again, we're not talking about men and women. It applies to both genders, or to all genders. It's about those original qualities. All right, so as we are evolving, and now we probably one of the like first generation when we can really embrace that evolution, because most of us are not in the survival mode anymore, right? So now the soul is like, okay, now you have another job to do. Now we're gonna start evolving those, into more wholeness. And again, it looks like women embracing more masculine roles and qualities, and same happening with men. By embodying and embracing more feminine qualities, you might notice in yourself or in other men that you don't want to be just that rigid masculine, right? You want to connect with your emotion. You want to be more creative. You want to feel more joy. the other generation didn't even feel that, didn't even had those questions. They had masculine, feminine, they had to survive, and that those role mate dynamic was essential for survival pretty much. Now we don't have that. So it is a beautiful thing, but it's a very confusing thing. Masculine and feminine is mixing together. Yes, thank you for your comments. I'm gonna go to the comments once in a while, but the big questions, if you have some questions, save them for the end. We'll have the Q&A at the end as well. Okay, so what happened? So what's wrong with us becoming more whole? It's beautiful, right? So we're becoming more ourselves, more evolved. But what happened as we becoming whole, we actually losing that polarity, right? How polarity works? The the opposites attract. And what happens often these days that we almost feel like we don't need another, like, we just don't naturally attract that. We still like consciously understand, okay, no, I want a partner, I want a relationship that empowers, that inspires me. Like, I know I want a partner, but then like we are not attracting. So what's happening? Because it's energetically, again, whatever comes from a conscious mind is not enough. We have to really assess where we are energetically. And what happens often that women actually stuck in the masculine role. It's really hard for us to just kind of switch and go back. Oh, and now I'm gonna relax after all this like hard day at work and rushing around and getting things done and reaching my goals, reaching the deadline, and then like, oh, and now I'm just gonna switch and relax in my feminine. We kind of need to learn it, but it's not automatically for us. So we're almost getting comfortable in those masculine roles. And for a long time, it might feel all right until we actually get burned out. That's why we have so much women experiencing adrenal fatigue, all sorts of burnouts, because being in those masculine energy really takes hold on our health and vitality, because we cannot replenish our vitality when we're in the masculine energy. We only replenish it when we're in a feminine, and it's related to the hormones we're producing. Like, we need to produce more oxytocin and estrogen to rebuild the body. And for men, it's the opposite. So men actually do function well on this, like, get things done, achieve things, and then switch off. It's a lot easier for men to switch off because of the hormonal function of the testosterone. It actually really works well for them. So the world is still created for, like, it's a male dynamic, right? So the man energy is a lot more resonating with the way the world is created. Well, because it's created pretty much by masculine energy. And women, we're trying to fit in, and we actually get stuck in the masculine. Let's talk about men a little bit as well. Often men these days, as I said, embrace their feminine qualities, get in touch with their emotions, but sometimes they also get stuck there, because it's a process. It can take a while, and then to get back to their masculine, it also might not be automatic, especially with if they're not in touch with other masculine activities and with testosterone producing activities. They can also get stuck in the feminine, and especially if there is any addiction involved. And by addiction, I mean even like not just gambling, gaming, all sorts of substances, of course. So those substances, they just like a fake feminine, so they can get stuck there, and like it's a way of escaping the reality. Or porn as well. Okay, let me read a comment. I'll do it periodically. Oh. Okay, big questions, please leave them for just maybe small comments now, so I can go back and forth fast. But the big questions, leave them for the end. What if we want to be more in feminine, be more time at home, caring, but the man does not allow it, and yes, we'll talk about all of that. Because it's a dynamic, right? We cannot we have to address it within ourselves first, and then see how the dynamic is changing. But we'll get to that one. Okay, thank you for the question. Again, okay, let's do the presentation first, because I feel like I will address these questions, and if I don't, then ask the question, okay? Oh, men are not in their masculine energy anymore, which allows women to flourish. Yes, but I wouldn't say it flourish, because if we're just stuck in a masculine energy, I would argue it's not the complete flourishing, because what we are doing, we're actually neglecting our own feminine. Okay. So it's not full flourishment. As I said, we only recharge our batteries. We become that full flourishing being by leaning into our feminine, which is not automatic. Okay, so let's talk what we can do about this. All right, so first I would say we have to accept that nothing actually went wrong, because it's really easy to get stuck in this like blaming dynamic, right? Even there is a subtle of those dynamic I see in the comments now. But what if man is like that? What if a woman is like this? Okay, the women around the world now. So first, the first step is awareness in any transformation, right? Awareness first, and then acceptance. Acceptance, it doesn't mean that it's not going to change. Acceptance is like, okay, that's the way things are. Nothing went wrong. And I have to take responsibility for it, because only with responsibility comes the full power. Because only with taking the responsibility for myself and dynamic I'm in, then I can also claim the power to change things. All right, so hopefully we're on the same page with that, because if we're stuck in victim mentality, there is no way we're gonna do change. And nothing wrong, I guess, with being in victim mentality, but then we just need a lot more therapy. And it would be really hard to actually accept this transmission and information that I'm giving today. So today I'm assuming you are ready to release the victim mentality and take responsibility and see what we can actually do. Okay. So yes, from that wholeness that we are coming into, and having our own back. So having our own back, this is the masculine quality in all of us, right? So that stability, groundedness, and feeling like, okay, I contain myself, I contain my own energies, I have my own back. So from that point, we have to start relaxing into the feminine. And first of all, we need to understand what feminine is, and if we're ready to actually, first of all, understand the value of the feminine, because often women fight for their rights, right? But then if we look inside we actually not value our own feminine. We're like, okay, we're claiming a power, but it's a masculine power. We're not tapping in or accepting the preciousness of feminine energy. And feminine is not as tangible as masculine. And this world is running on masculine energy mostly. The masculine energy get more praises, right? Like, okay, the achievements, results, drive, this is all masculine and we can touch it, right? So that's like, okay, if we can touch it, then it's valuable. The feminine, the actual feminine, I'm not talking men, women again, right? Remember, the feminine energies, it's subtle, it's soft, it's flowing, it's mysterious. So you cannot touch it most of the times. So we cannot even like, okay, how do I value it if I cannot even touch it? How can I allow myself to relax into that feminine and be okay with it and not feel guilty for not doing anything and just being in my feminine and flowing without like some goals and just like being in pleasure, let's say. There is lots of like guilt and shame attached to that, because we are brought up like that as well. There is lots of like societal influence on that as well. So I think one of the first steps is start valuing feminine energies in all of us, in yourself, in others, in the world. Like the nature, right, is perfect representation of the feminine energy. how much we value it, like, and appreciate it, or how much we're afraid of it and trying to control it, right? So it's a mindset. So it's like becoming more like honoring towards the feminine, towards the mystery of life, and towards your own flow and softness. Don't stop seeing softness as weakness, right? It's very different. Okay, another way to reclaim the feminine within all of us is start prioritizing the way we feel. Prioritizing our own alignment. Maybe you've heard from, different like law of attraction teachings. They always talk about like alignment. But what is that alignment? It's how you feel, making it your priority. Before doing anything, tap in is, okay, how am I feeling? How can I feel? How do I want to feel? Right? Connecting with those desires, but with purified desires, like not the surface level desires, but like that comes from really from your heart. So prioritizing your emotions and your needs. How often we think that, oh, being needy is bad. Having needs and being needy is a very different thing. It's very important to get in touch with our needs and see how can we meet our own needs. Because if we don't meet our own needs, we're gonna unconsciously trying to fulfill it from others, and then also blame others that they not fulfilling our needs. But it only comes by, first of all, honoring our own needs. Then the world will reflect it back. We cannot demand it from a partner to honor our needs if we are not holding space for our own needs, for our own desires. If we're still feeling guilty for them, but then trying to project it on another person, right? Like, okay, why don't you do that? Why are you not allowing? It's a lot more complex than that energetically. Okay, start valuing your own feminine. That's what I've been talking about. Okay, relaxing in your feminine makes you magnetic, because feminine energy is about receptivity. So when we want to actually receive from life, and right, life is giving and receiving. We're often comfortable giving, but often we are not comfortable to be receiving. And it comes back to that not valuing the feminine. Seeing receiving is something less than giving. So while relaxing into the feminine, we're creating this like receptive vessel within us. And actually in my inner alchemy course, there is a whole like meditation on that, on creating the receptive vessel. It's a Tao practice called Wu Wei, but we're specifically focusing on the yin channel, right, which is the feminine channel, the front of the body, and creating energetically that vessel that is your capacity to receive. To receive what? To receive life, to receive love, to receive money, to receive prosperity, whatever you want to receive. You have to have energetic space for it to receive. Okay. So yes, reclaiming that feminine polarity will inspire the masculine. Again, right now I'm talking a bit again about men and women. So when a woman relaxes in that feminine while holding, okay, she has her own masculine container. She knows that she has her own back. She knows her boundaries. But energetically, when she has that masculine container, the boundaries are energetic. So that will inspire the masculine, or the man get more into his masculine, and then attraction might happen. Otherwise, we will not even notice those men. So if we're stuck in a masculine, we're just gonna keep complaining that there are no masculine men out there anymore, that men are not matching up, but we're just not even noticing them energetically. We're not attracted to them, and they're not attracted to us, because we're both like in a masculine, right? We're repelling. Or if there is reverse polarity, women in a masculine and men in the feminine, we can attract for a bit, but usually it creates not a great dynamic in relationship. And I've been some of that before, when it can actually start really fun and very romantic, because man in his feminine can be very romantic, but then when the polarity is reversed, and then you in relationship you start to producing that oxytocin and you flip into your feminine, but he's still in his feminine, it's gonna repel again, right? This is just physics. Okay. Okay. So I have 3 reasons and 3 solutions. So we're still on reason number 1. And one more point I want to discuss here before we move to reason number 2, and I'll look at the comments as well. I want to talk about worthiness versus confidence, because I feel like it's a big one. And it also corresponds to masculine and feminine energies. Again, not men and women, masculine and feminine within all of us. And I hope, like, when I talk about that will help you understand more about that polarity as well and how it works. Okay, so confidence is masculine, because confidence is something you have to gain, right? You cannot just be, okay, I'm confident. No, you kind of need the reflection from the world. You need to like achieve something, feel good about it, world reflects to you by bringing like your customers or like whatever the exchange is, right? And money, and then like, okay, I'm confident, I can do that. So it's very like linear, goal-oriented masculine quality, beautiful in all of us, in men and women. But confidence doesn't mean worthiness. So we can actually not feel that we are worthy and still be confident, but it's going to be more like proven. We're going to keep proving to ourselves, keep proving to the world. And if it's out of balance, it's still going to lead us to like depression and not being fulfilled, not being satisfied, because there is something deeper than that, and that's a feminine counter force of confidence, which is worthiness. And worthiness is something we're born with, all of us born with the worthiness as the being on this earth. We are worthy, and that's a feminine. Think about a child. Children are all feminine, right? This is just the feminine energies, the energies that kind of like you want to take care of it, right? So that the feeling of worthiness and your total preciousness, and knowing that you are valued and you are precious just because you are a beautiful being, and that's it. There is no argument about it. You don't need validation, you don't need confirmation, like, and resting in that knowing how worthy you are is a big thing. And I think that's the main work that we need to do these days, is getting back into that feeling of our own inherited like worthiness. Okay, so before moving to reason number 2, I'm just gonna read the comment quickly again. If it's a big question, I'm probably not gonna get to it. Women run the world, question mark. Oh, yeah, it depends from what perspective, but yeah, like research shows that women more and more, like in terms of like education and money making, they are, especially in the West. I'm talking about Western world, obviously. What should men and women do to keep the attraction each other, while masculine and feminine are mixing in each other? Okay, so I think I just explained it. I guess it was a while ago, that comment. No, it was just 1 minute ago. Okay, I explained some of that at least, right? That the women need to reclaim the feminine more, like actually like consciously step into the feminine, make that switch by, okay, let's talk about how, right? So by applying those like practices, consciously go into that state. Okay, I'm allowing myself, maybe schedule. I think these days we need to schedule time. I'm scheduling do nothing time, and it's like, okay, this is my time. Do nothing, think of nothing, just be in my feminine, be in my joy, and just feel like, what do I want? What does my body desire? Maybe it's a bath, maybe it's some yummy food, but as you eat it, you really enjoy it. You feel the taste, you feel the smell. So opening up the senses. So senses, the feeling, being in the senses, being in your body, being in your feelings, this is very feminine. So any practice that activate that, and again in my inner alchemy course that I will tell you more about at the end as well, we are going a lot into those practices of reclaiming the feminine. And it's like meditation can be dance. I will be offering some dance practices there. There's like a sensual dance and devotional. So feminine is very devotional. So in comparison to like meditation, this is masculine practice because it connects to consciousness, connects to nothingness. This is masculine. Feminine is more devotional. It's a movement and singing mantras. It's praying to divine. So that's how you can come back to your feminine. If you're asking how masculine can behave in this situation, right? So how can masculine step into his masculine to kind of attract the feminine in the feminine or in women? The masculine, there are so many masculine activities you can do. Any, like, go work out, do something like goal oriented, achieve, and like really feel, okay, I achieved that. Like that, any testosterone producing activity, like a ice bath, like any athletics, any sports, anything kind of like adrenaline based as well, like some risky stuff. That's all testosterone boosting activities that gets you into your masculine. Holding space for a woman, let's say a woman wants to talk and you just listen without fixing her, without trying to fix or give her like advice right away. Although advice can be masculine too, depends on the situation, but often like just holding the space, this is very masculine because masculine, that the quality of presence, that's what masculine can bring, and that's women really value in men, the presence. That's what we're really craving these days. Okay, so hopefully I answered this question. I'm gonna look in one more. Can we have false or delusional worthiness? That's a great question. I would say that's the confidence. We can fake being confident. We can be delusional there too, right? Something we created in our own head and like, okay, and like you kind of boost yourself up. Okay, I'm confident. But worthiness, no. Worthiness runs really deep in us. We cannot fake it. It's how you feel, right? You can perform confidence, but it's not worthiness. Worthiness is your relationship with yourself. It's like when nobody, actually witnesses, like what you can witness in you. And like how much you love yourself, how much you approve yourself, how much you understand how precious you are. And that can be practice on its own, just really tapping into that, tapping into your heart and just being in, there are probably lots of uncomfortable emotions will come up as well, because so much in the programming actually tells us that we are not worthy. So you have to be willing with sitting with the uncomfortable emotions and feeling them, like, because the mind will start telling you why you are not worthy, why you are not valued. And it's like, that's confidence issue, but I am worthy. So connecting with that self-love, affirmation help with that. I find like, but you have to understand while you're doing just affirmations. But if you're aware and you know what you're doing the reprogramming, and you're also meeting the uncomfortable emotions, then affirmations will work. But only after you meet the resistance within you. If I don't answer some questions right now, please remember them, maybe copy and then paste them at the end as well when we have the Q&A session, the part. Okay. Women are confused how to react to men. They change to their role per day. How to cope with it. Okay. I feel like I answered that question about getting into your feminine. But we'll go even further into that because this is just reason number one. If it's still not clear at the end of the session, ask again. But so far, again, tapping into your worthiness, relaxing into your feminine, schedule time to relax in your feminine because it's not automatic. So you're gonna like schedule time, like a my pleasure practice or my non-doing practice. Connect to my senses practice. Eat food without interruptions practice. And like really enjoy it. So that will get you in touch with your feminine. Any oxytocin producing activities. You can also think about playing with pets, great feminine energy activity. Kids, being around kids, it's also a very oxytocin producing activity. Being in nature, just being in nature, also very oxytocin producing activity. Great way to connect with your feminine. Everything that sparks up your senses gets you into your body, in your feelings. I love, for example, going to dance bachata. It's a couple dance, and that really allows me to like surrender in my feminine, especially when the partner can really lead. This is just the most amazing feeling. Then you can relax in the feminine and feel like the masculine leads you, and it's so beautiful, beautiful way to practice being in your feminine. Oh, bachata, so good for energy exchange. Absolutely, yes. Um, women want. Oh, okay. Women want to be equal to men, and that gives a huge collision. What to do with it? Okay, so what I would say, we're equal in terms we're all worthy and we're all precious, but we are not the same, right? And we have to start understanding that we're not the same. We're really different physically, biologically, hormonally, evolutionary. Like we created very different qualities. We created different brains even, right? Like minds function differently, the bodies function differently. So we have to start accepting that. This is not a cultural argument. This is biology. This is science, okay? We are different. And but we are equal. We're equal in our preciousness, in our beauty, and in our, how we can show up in our lives, and what we bring. We can bring different things, but we're still precious. So it starts with women valuing their own feminine and men valuing feminine, but I feel like men valuing feminine more than women valuing feminine energy in themselves. Often what I see, women actually valuing their masculine, and they're very proud of their achievements, and rightfully so, right? Like we started like, yeah, I can achieve this, I can be in my leadership, I can run my business. It's a great feeling, but you just have to remember, okay, but this is my masculine, this is fine, but am I valuing my feminine, or I'm just still keeping running the same program? We still valuing the masculine qualities in all. So start valuing feminine as much as you value the masculine, and that's the first step. Start valuing your own softness and so vulnerable. Start valuing your own vulnerability. Like stop seeing it as a weakness. And it can be so scary. That's why we live in the time that really calls for a courage. I think every time, like all the times, they call for courage, but it was a bit more like physical type of courage, right? Like survival. But now the courage is to do the inner work. All right. Okay. So let's do the. I see the. Okay. Great. Okay. So I'm gonna move on. Oh, okay. So that about the inner alchemy course solution, I kind of already talked on that. So we're doing a lot about the embodiment and the practices that I mentioned, relaxing into the feminine, the Wu Wei, yoga, devotional, sensual dance, different guided meditations are there. We'll learn more about that masculine feminine polarity and like based in biology and spirituality and tantra. Understand more of that hormonal difference. Yeah, and also like we'll talk that relationship is actually a combination of passion, intimacy, and responsibility. If one is missing, it's not gonna be a full relationship. Okay. So reason number two, so this is more of the internal reason, and I feel this is the actually the most important one. So it's the inner war between masculine and feminine, and we kind of touched on that when I said that women and men, like, we're not even valuing our own feminine, and actually that relates to this. There is a conflict between the inner masculine and inner feminine. So if we actually be really honest with ourselves and we observe the inner dynamic, we realize that we're actually pretty much in war within ourselves. And so let me start with that. So you probably heard the phrase by Carl Jung said that until we make subconscious conscious, it will run our lives, and we call it phase, right? So the world is a reflection of your inner world. The external world is a reflection of your inner world. So if we can agree on that, because some people don't see it that way, and it's often challenging. It's a lot easier to externalize and again blame. But if we want to actually create change, we need to look internally, and that's the main work that we do in the inner alchemy as well. So where this war is coming from, there are several ways, and probably a lot more, because there's a mystery, right? What is a soul doing here? How we created these beings that we are. But the most obvious one is how we grow up, right? Just look in your childhood. What did you observe growing up? What was the dynamic between your caregivers, between your mother and father? What did you observe between masculine and feminine growing up? Because as children, actually prenatal till age of 7, we just absorb everything like a sponge, right? We're not filtering. We absorb it and it's going to become a blueprint. Sometimes even in a relationship that's outside looks totally great. Like, let's say in my family, it was like a normal family. There was no fights, and but then when I actually meditated on it, and when I talked then to my mom, and I understood, no, like internally, like she didn't feel safe, she didn't feel valued, she didn't feel seen. And my father, he probably felt like over controlled, and then he would go into his avoidance. But externally it looked like a good family. But as a child, you just absorb everything. You absorb subconsciously, you absorb the emotional dynamic. So that becomes your emotional blueprint from which you create your reality. And it goes even deeper than that as well. It goes all the way to like ancestral lines. A lot of it is genetic. You might not even know why you created this type of reality for yourself. Like maybe it was all right between your parents, but your grandparents experienced something like traumatic. And lots of us experience trauma in this life, right? As children or as grown up, like abuse, anything like that, that would really put a huge imprint on how we see the reality and how we recreate it, right? Because that's how we see it, we keep recreating it. And that's already a scientific fact as well. So yeah, it can show up as control, mistrust. It can show up as choosing like unhealthy dynamic, unhealthy attachment. We can call it like avoidant attachment or anxious attachment, but really it all comes back to that inner pattern, like settling for abuse, settling for breadcrumbs, choosing unavailable partners. That comes from that internal blueprint. And that's why therapy became so popular these days, right? We're reclaiming those inner parts. We're working with those inner parts of us, with inner child. It's a big work to really work, to address the inner child and meet his or her needs. But it's also, we can kind of get stuck in that as well. So my solution is, while observing, obviously we need to connect with what active, especially with what active. I feel like we don't need to dig in too far. We can even go to past lives, we can go into all sorts of things, But we don't need to dig in too far. We can just observe what's happening in this life for you. And usually that's what your subconscious enjoys. Yeah, the subconscious doesn't understand pain, pleasure, good, bad. It just is. And so, in order to understand what's in your subconscious, you don't have to go far. You just look at what's happening in your life and what kind of relationship you create and what kind of emotions you experience. That's your kind of default setting. Okay, what did I put here? All right. So yeah, let's go more into solutions. All right. So I said that yes, the therapeutic work is important, and in inner alchemy we do some like journaling. We're going into that like, the childhood and working with the parents, mother wound, father wound. Like it's all part of it, but it's not the whole thing. Like what we really need to do is we need to start rewiring. So it's more of a tantric path, and I'm offering you this like more of a direct path while addressing the trauma, addressing your emotions. Then we also go into the experience of subconscious rewiring. And what we're rewiring it to, we're rewiring it to original love blueprint, original that union, the sacred union of divine masculine and divine feminine that happens on the universal basis and within us. And this is our original love blueprint. So if we just kind of, let go of the programming, which is easier said than done, but we can do that. We can tap into the original love blueprint. And there is a meditation that we can do at the end of the seminar today as well, so you can get into that feeling of what that kind of perfect love feels like, that dynamic that we want to reset ourselves to, where the masculine feels on purpose and feels honored and appreciated, and where feminine feels precious and valued and held and supported and provided. So we're going to rewire back into this dynamic. And that's, as I said, that's the biggest work of this inner alchemy program as well. There are different types of meditations I give, but in the basis of it, it's that original love blueprint, the Shiva Shakti or Yin Yang, in their harmonious balance. And then the safe, fulfilling, passionate, devotional love, that dynamic becomes your new normal. But we'll have to, for some time, we'll have to remember it. Like we have to tap back to it like every day. It's a daily practice until it becomes your new normal. Because the programs run really strongly in us. And then, yeah, like we also embody it. We feel it in the body. It's not just a concept in the mind. Very important that we get into the feeling of it. Okay, before going to reason number 3, okay, let's see. If we drift away from the nature, we will suffer. Stay close to the nature as it is. So true, yes. Okay, no more questions. Thank you guys for saving it for later. Perfect. Let's go into reason number 3. What did I click? Okay, click something, it disappeared. All right. Zoom. I don't see my own screen. Oh well. Okay, I'll continue like this, but see this gonna happen. No idea. Okay. All right. Can you guys see it? Now I don't see you. It's gonna go in the chat. I'm gonna go like this. Can somebody tell me if you still see the screen? Oh, no, I don't see the screen. Okay, I'm gonna stop share for a bit and I'll redo it again. All right, we are back. Sorry about that. It's sometimes it's like, oh, where did it go? Okay, so reason number 3. Yeah, that's a fun one. I call it Forgotten Art of Dating. Okay. The disclaimer can be triggering for some, but if you really allow yourself to just listen to it and don't get triggered right away. Actually, if you went to my seminar on rotational dating, you're probably familiar with what I'm going to say. But let me say right away that this type of dating is beneficial for both men and women. It's for mutual growth, mutual benefits. So first of all, let's talk how this happens most of the time nowadays. Like how is dating happen? So even like the best case scenario, right? Okay, we meet that person, maybe through online dating, maybe in real life, and let's say it's like a attraction. We were in a feminine and masculine, the attraction happened, and you go on a date, you go on couple dates, and you like each other. Again, I'm talking about the ideal one. We're almost healed, almost healed type of situation. So okay, we got attracted, and several dates later, maybe one date later, maybe a couple dates later, maybe 10, we get intimate, we have sex, and then again, ideal situation, we're both like, all right, let's, yeah, maybe we'll be exclusive. Okay, that's not a bad dynamic, but often what happens, especially if we get intimate really fast, what happens for women specifically, we like put the rose-colored glasses on. Like we stop. Well, first of all, we don't see other men around, most of us, and we kind of start idealizing the person. And it's actually programmed by nature as well, because when we start to sleep with somebody, nature thinks, okay, you're gonna make babies, so you'd better, you want to create a bond, you better not see like any red flags, any qualities that are not desirable. So you kind of, as a woman, often you get attached way too soon and way often to a wrong person, the person who actually is not suitable for you. How attraction happens in men and women. So with men, it happens on a sexual level first. And on sexual level, I don't mean like you have sex right away. It's that you right away as a man, you can tell in several seconds pretty much, you can tell if you desire that woman, if you desire to sleep with you or not. Women can argue, oh, I feel the same about men, but this means you in your masculine actually. So the masculine knows like if they desire the sexual connection right away or not. The feminine, when we are in a feminine, when we're in a healthy feminine, first get attracted mentally, right? So if the man is not really meeting you mentally, if it's not really interesting for you, you're probably not going to be attracted to him sexually as well. So for women, it happens mentally first. Then it goes, for both, it goes more into the emotional, and then the man can be interested more in like your intellect as well, and women can kind of drop more into the sexual energy. So that's kind of healthy dynamic between masculine and feminine. And why I'm saying it, that's because it's very important to connect on different levels, mentally, emotionally, become friends, right? Become like more emotionally connected before getting into sexual intimacy, to actually know if it's the right partner for you, first of all. Secondary, so you don't get attached too soon. And third, it's, or actually it should be first, because it's the safety. For women, it's the safety as well. And the masculine, if he's only attracted sexually and there is no other bonding happened, emotional bonding, intellectual bonding, energetic, spiritual, maybe depends what's important for you. We all have our kind of, levels of values and desired qualities. If that didn't happen and the sex happened really fast, in most cases, the man will actually disattach and he might just disappear. And we might think, oh, like this is like men are like that. But this is actually just the masculine function. So it's a function of testosterone. Like it increases before getting into the sexual interaction, that after sex it drops. And if he didn't have the healthy attachment with you already, like other type of bonding, he will just disappear, because subconsciously he will associate you with the drop of the testosterone. So he might even feel like a disgust. And as women, where it's gonna take us? Oh, it's gonna take us into unworthiness and not being like good enough or too much, or like we're gonna get so into that anxious attachment. But this is just like normal feminine reaction, because feminine is wired for safety and connection. So that's why when we talk about anxious and avoidant, of course it can go in both genders, but a lot more often women considered to be anxiously attached and men more avoidant. But it really goes into that original qualities of our hormones. Again, women are wired for connection. So the absence of that connection is like lack of safety. So we go into that panic mode, into that anxiety. Okay, that's a big one, right? So I want you to kind of let it sink in. All right, but I said it's going to be a fun one, and now getting into this heavy stuff. Okay, let's go into fun. What is my way of, not my way of dating, and actually forgotten art of dating. This is like traditionally, lots of cultures do it. The nature does it. That's how nature chooses partner for the feminine. That's how the nature chooses the masculine, right? So first of all, let me tell you, there is no one specific man for you out there. Yes, soulmates. Lots of people have the ability to be your soulmate, to be that partner that you desire. He has or she has those qualities. But what happens, like for a man, he needs to get activated in those qualities, because by default he might not show up in them. But a woman, when she shows up in her feminine and in her worthiness, in her kind of queen energy, when she knows her worthiness, she knows her boundaries, she knows what she wants, she really honors and respects herself and the man, then the man can get activated into rising into those qualities. And it actually can be different for different women. Different qualities can be activated. That one same man can behave differently with one woman than with another. So let's talk about the nature, how nature works. How does your egg works, right? The feminine, we have an egg, and then we have the sperm, right? And what happened in there? The sperm competes for the egg. So this is natural, harmonious, evolution-based practice. The man needs to compete for a woman. That's how he grows. That's how he bonds. Masculine bonds by giving, by providing something for you. It energetically, emotionally, physically, opening the door, providing on dates, paying for dinner, buying you flowers. All of those gestures That's the courtship. This is the art of courtship. And we have to bring it back because this is based in nature. Yes, we got into a wholeness evolution, but as we're going back into a masculine and feminine, because in dating we want to create that attraction, right? Create the dynamic. So that's what activates that. So as a woman, I'm inviting you to explore this type of dating where you date multiple partners, not sleeping with multiple partners, dating, getting to know them on the heart level, on the intellectual level, resting in your feminine that can be very vulnerable, allowing yourself to receive those gestures, and notice staying in your body meaning staying in your feminine. Notice how it feels for you to receive his presence, to receive his as I said, like different gestures. And then naturally, one of those men will be like, obviously, like, okay, like that's the man. You'll feel that mutual connection. Then you'll decide to, okay, now it's time to be exclusive, and then you can have the conversation about it. And then, of course, when you go into the exclusivity, then you let go of those other dating partners. Okay, how triggered are you? So yes, men have to compete to win your heart, and then men, I don't see the comments yet on purpose. Just don't want to get too distracted yet. But so the man can say, "Oh, it's not fair, guys. It's fair. It's actually for you as well, for you to grow and to step into your full masculine, because masculine needs to be invited into that. Masculine in all of us needs to be like challenged, invited into the greatness, where the feminine in all of us needs to relax. But men, again, generalizing, usually have 80% masculine, 20 feminine. Can be different percentage, right? But I'm generalizing. Women have, let's say, 80 feminine, 20 masculine. So that's why this dynamic works like that. So for women, resting in her feminine by actually being really present, it's quite a work as well for us, because we're so not wired that way anymore. We need to value the feminine and rest in the feminine. Activate that courtship circle. I see the comments, gonna go there very soon. So yes, and in this way, first of all, it's really safe for women. We really need to activate a safety, and it comes with that wholeness. And what that wholeness means is that your inner masculine is healthy and it's functioning well. It creates that internal container for yourself. So you know your boundaries. If we go back in history, we had that protection, but externally, by traditions, by church, by fathers, by uncles, by tribe, we would be protected. There would be certain rules how we do dating, how we go into marriages. So the feminine was actually more protected. Now we are not protected externally in Western world, but we creating that internal protection by embracing a wholeness. And by resting in that wholeness and leaning in a feminine while the masculine holding that space for you, you can feel safe while you're doing this type of dating. It's still gonna be the things gonna come up, right? Lots of emotions will come up. You need to do lots of like journaling and processing the emotions, because some people will not get it, and you don't want to lie about it, right? You want to be open, so that's what you do. That's how you keep yourself safe. That's what feels right for you. That's how you're going to choose your partner, because you're not choosing. Okay, I'm not talking about just how to get casual sex here, right? We're talking about how to create a committed power couple type of relationship. So for this type of dynamic, there has to be this meeting. The man has to rise into his masculine. The woman has to relax into her feminine. And then, in the inner alchemy, I'm going into more details about this type of this type of dating. And it starts even with like how you create your dating profile, and yeah, we're going into all of that there. But the main part is still is dissolving the inner war. And again, it's done by journaling, working with the emotions, different alignment practices, and the most important, the inner union activation practice. Cultivating healthy inner feminine, inner masculine, unlocking the feminine flow. Like there, I go into like 4 different phases. And the third phase is unlocking that feminine. And that's probably the most fun phase because that's where we get to dance and do like sensual dance and pleasure practice, going more into tantra. And the last phase is embodying that queen's energy. And by queen is the one who embodies both like masculine and feminine. She's generous, she is worthy, she is magnetic and majestic. So she's both masculine and feminine, but she's not afraid to be vulnerable and to be in her feminine, because that takes, these days, it takes vulnerability and takes courage to be in a feminine ferociously. All right. So we're gonna do the inner union practice. I'm gonna look at the comments first, and then we're gonna go into practice because I don't want to get you distracted after we get into that space. But so here, okay, I'm gonna tell a little bit more about the inner union. About the inner alchemy course. So I just finished creating it, the evergreen version of it. I already ran it, live version of it. I don't know if some of you here were in the live version of it. It was fun. Got some great results, and so now it's evergreen. So you can just do it. It's a self-paced, and the early bird is until November 30th. You see the link here. You can click the link, I believe, if you want to go check it out. So yes, that's available for you. And what else? Let me see the comments, and we'll go into the meditation. Okay, now, okay, here are the comments. In general, it is disrespectful to date multiple partners at the same time. Yes, it's a common belief. I know, it's disrespectful. Lots of people still think that way. You have to explain what dating is for you. Dating doesn't mean sleeping, right? Dating doesn't mean using. And again, I go more into that in inner alchemy. It's not, okay, let's see what else you're gonna say. Choose one person and try to get to know. Well, I just explained why it doesn't work, didn't I? If you don't like or disagree, you can try that way, but I told that as a woman, you're just gonna get attached to this one person. So dating multiple people creates the safety. It kind of, it distracts you a little bit. And it's a good thing in this case. So instead of just completely focusing on that one partner, you allow space. Because what happened with the masculine, he also goes into his natural testosterone driven like ups and downs. You're gonna get close, gonna pull away. And as a woman, you might start like panic. You can start going into this dynamic. Okay, where are we at? What's happening? Right? So because we are very emotional, we're a lot more emotional than men usually, regularly. Again, it's biological. So this is the protection mechanism. And yes, lots of people gonna be like, oh, it's disrespectful. It's because we're not used to it. We forgot that actually that was the respectful way. The courtship, that's what the courtship is. And if you think it's disrespectful, then yes, it's gonna be really hard. It's lots of rewiring there. Okay. Not agreed to let men compete with each other. It's disrespectful for men. Why? The nature does it all the time. How programmed we are that we think that men competing for you is not a good thing. Again, I just explained that it's a win-win situation because Even if he doesn't win your heart, he expands, he grows, he embraces more masculine qualities. He becomes um, a better person, which doesn't work in reverse. For a woman, it totally gets her into this like anxious panic state, into the emotional roller coaster. Again, this is how we're wired by nature, and that's where I'm inviting you. And it's not for everyone. It takes courage to do dating this way and hold your ground. And very important that you don't get intimate. You explained that you get to know people on different level, on the level of the heart and on the level of your intellect. And only then you decide with whom you're ready to be intimate, and then you go into exclusivity with one partner. I absolutely agree that then you go into exclusive relationship and committed relationship with one partner. But before that agreement, before that commitment, before the exclusivity, you have to date multiple people. Otherwise, you're gonna make lots of mistakes, and it's gonna be painful again. If it didn't work for you, maybe try something different. What if both the men and women work the same amount of time outside of home, and by the time women arrive home, they're even more exhausted? That's so true. This is the biggest problem these days, I would say. Um, And then she wants to be with children, of course. She needs to be with children. By the way, being with children can be both masculine and feminine in a woman, because like nurturing is feminine, but also like taking care, protecting, it's also can be masculine. So almost you have to be careful. You're gonna be still in your masculine, right? Even when you care, when you're caring for the children. Caring for home, so you're still in your responsibilities, yes. There are not much energy left, yes. Shouldn't women spend more time with house and children rather than being in their masculine? Yes, ideally, but first of all, a woman needs to decide this for herself, because it is like, as we've been fighting for our rights to be in a masculine and to do as much that, career work, and most of us are not willing to give it up. And I think this is okay when we step by step start rewiring back into the feminine and allowing more space for a feminine to come out. We can even apply more feminine energy at work as well, but it's not going to happen in one day. It's easy to start doing it when you are at home. As I said, at this point, we need to schedule that time. We need to, this is time for me getting into my feminine. Boom, this is your scheduled time after work for yourself. Any way you can allow yourself to relax and connect to the feminine flow. It's a practice. It's a practice. And as you do it, there's going to be more and more space created for that. And you'll find yourself caring for kids also in more feminine way, being with your husband in more feminine way. He'll automatically start going more into his feminine and like trying to help you more and taking more of the responsibilities and getting more into masculine. Maybe at some point you'll decide that, okay, you're gonna actually work less at your career and spend more time. He'll see the value of you being in your feminine. He'll start feeling better by you being in your feminine. He'll start feeling more appreciated and actually getting more into his goals and achievements, because when masculine feels appreciated and on purpose and he's actually needed, we're really afraid of this word need now, then he actually will ask you to work less and be more in your feminine and be more with at home and with kids. But it's a gradual process, and if he doesn't know this, you can start it by scheduling time for yourself. And this is start with that, like self-love, self-respect. It's like non-negotiable. You need to schedule that time. Uh-huh. Exactly why I'm of strong opinion that a man should be a provider so that a woman can concentrate on her feminine side. Ideally, maybe for some couple that will work if the woman already accomplished her, okay, she is done with proving to the world that she is a good man and she can be like, okay, but lots of us like don't want to give them up, right? We still want to show up in a purpose, but we can start bringing more of a feminine into it to be more relaxed into it. We need some structure. Masculine maybe help us with the structure. We can flow with a feminine energy at work, or you can decide not to work. You cannot demand it. It cannot be like, at this point, it cannot be he should be doing this, I should be doing this, right? We already kind of created a bit of a mess. But it's okay. It's a chaos, but it's, intentional chaos from the higher perspective of our souls. So now, again, we cannot just point in fingers, he should be doing this, she should be doing that. How you going to take responsibility now and rewire it back for yourself? How can you start claiming your own feminine and then see him reflecting that back to you? That's the work I'm inviting you into doing. It's the lots of inner work, lots of allowing yourself to be vulnerable, to be feminine, to be sensual. So men do the same too. Where does it lead to? No, men don't. Yes, for men, they can try to do that, of course. Okay, if you have resources to take multiple women on the dates, do it. But for men, I suggest to date one woman at a time. And you also feel, you understand, you feel how it feels to give to her. When you provide something for her, again, when you open the door, when you provide that presence, when you listen to her, when you give her flowers, whatever it is, you notice how it feels to give to her. If it brings that masculine in you, if it inspires you. So you have to be like really conscious as well, and then make a decision if she's the right woman as you're going on dates. And it, if you don't have much resources, the dates don't have to be the expensive dates, right? It can be coffee, it can be a walk in the park, whatever, like, you decide on. But the point is you get to know a woman, and you can give in different ways, as I said, with your presence, with your gestures. And then as you get to know each other, you understand, are you on the same page in terms of values, in terms of goals? How is your energy feeling to each other? Like, is that attraction? And then you decide if you're going to pursue that woman, and if you're like ready for that fight, if you're ready to completely step into that masculine fight. I mean that like game, the dating game, in the sense that like, yes, you'll compete for her. Yeah, she has to be worthy of that. If you're not ready to compete for her, she's not the right woman for you. Okay? We totally forgot that we are too equal, and I'm telling you right now that we are not the same. We have to rewire back to that masculine and feminine, and you keep arguing with me that it has to be the same or fair. No, dating is not a fair game. Period. But it's fun game, all right? Let's take a bit of seriousness out of it and let it play. Let the masculine feminine dynamic start playing again in its natural way. But you can try dating multiple women, see if it works. Probably not going to work very well. Emotional misuse of men. If people date multiple persons at the same time, they start seeing everyone as an option and not investing themselves. Okay, yeah, this is your choice. Yeah, it's not like so I don't see that. That's why I'm talking about meeting people on the level of the heart and level of the intellect. It's not about using people. It's not about just seeing the options. It's about, yes, you have an options as a woman. It's very healthy for you to have options. But then you have to check in with yourself. Like what's your deep intention? What's your deep desire to build that power couple type of relationship? So then you have to allow man to rise into that masculine, into the king frequencies. And you observe, but it's not even like with your mind, only with your mind, or like this is like these qualities, those qualities, checklist. It's not about that. And then you going back into your feminine, noticing how you're feeling in your body, in presence of that man. Like how does it feel to receive his presence, his gestures? And then you choose. Feminine choosing. Your egg is choosing. The feminine in nature is choosing from the multiple partners. Is this, unfair? And counting men to compete for women, would it not nurture narcissistic tendencies in women? I guess it depends where a woman is in her consciousness as well. Here I'm talking to people who, again, who kind of beyond that, who are not trying just to get that external validation from multiple men admiring her. This is for women who are ready to step into the feminine power and claim the power couple type of relationship, where she understands that, yes, they both will help to grow continuously. And if he's not willing to grow now during the dating process, he's not going to grow later as well. Can it be used by some women? Same as it can be used by some men, right? Any strategy can be used for all sorts of unhealthy things. But if a woman is healthy and her intention is healthy, if her desire is pure for the conscious partnership, for the relationship, like based in that commitment to growth, commitment to excellence, commitment to joy, commitment to making each other happier. You have to check in with your whys for sure. I've been on a therapeutic and spiritual journey, and all you said makes perfect sense to me. In my career, I was expected to demonstrate masculine qualities, and I've totally been unable to express my feminine qualities. I'm learning to recognize this, feel worthy, love myself, and this dating balance would have been virtually unrecognizable to me, unrecognizable to me. So it's been a long journey, but has been so helpful to reinforce where I'm headed. Thank you. And thank you for the feedback. And as I said, for some people, it can be very triggering because it's, it can bring up all sorts of issues. But yes, I also been through a lot. And this is the dynamic that works, and it's based in biology, it's based in science, in evolutionary biology, it's based in spirituality as well, because the masculine has to create that container. He needs the reason to show up and be in his purpose, be in his masculine. So feminine needs to inspire it. If you can, by the way, if you can do it without dating multiple people, and you want to try date one person but really stay, you have to then have such a strong masculine container to like don't attach to a man too soon. You can do it, some women can do it, but it's easier to do it by dating multiple partners. It's also just more natural. All right, okay, a couple more and we're already, I think, we're already over time. Thank you guys for staying. Okay, guys. All right, so I'm getting there. Some really don't like this dating dynamic. Fine. Does inner alchemy get inspiration from inner engineering? Oh, similar vocabulary. Okay, so this is the tantric vocabulary, and engineering, inner engineering comes, as I believe, like from yogic philosophy, and yoga and tantra. Yoga actually means inner union, right? So yoga and tantra is all based on inner union. So it's not, and Tao as well. So all of those like ancient philosophies and practices that okay, they are based in the same understanding of inner alchemical marriage between masculine and feminine. And this marriage happens on the universal level, and it happens within all of us. And that's where like I kind of had a download of my own way of doing this meditation, but it's definitely rooted in the practices that I've been initiated as like as a yoga teacher, as a tantric facilitator, as a Dao practitioner. So I wouldn't be surprised if it has lots of similarities with inner engineering, but I haven't dived into specifically inner engineering. All right, guys. So we are going into the practice now, just for like 5 minutes. I want to get a taste of it. If you don't want to do the practice, if you, yeah, I see lots of people got triggered by that, by the dynamic. You're free to leave the free to leave the room now. No problem with that. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for expressing yourself. And I hope you still got a lot out of it anyways. And we're gonna go into a short practice. Okay, let's do it. Okay. So sit up nice and tall, either in cross-legged or in your chair. Try not to lean into anywhere, just elongate your spine. Gonna be doing a little bit of meditation here. So we want the energies to flow smoothly. And you can close your eyes and start by noticing your breath. Observing the breath coming in, observing the air coming in, and anchoring the breath all the way into your lower abdomen, even all the way down at the base of the spine, feeling the gentle expansion on the inhale, and absorb the breath on the way out, feeling gentle contraction on the exhale. Anchoring the breath, going with the expansion. And now bring attention to your navel point, which is point 2 fingers below the belly button. It's the lower dantian. This is a power center. And as you exhale, you're gonna draw that navel in a little bit more. Inhale, relax and feel the expansion. And let's activate that navel point more with the breath of fire. So it's the same breath. Inhale, expand, exhale, contract, but we're gonna pump the belly. So as you exhale, you're gonna draw it in with a bit more force. Inhale, let it out. Inhale, let out the belly. On the exhale, draw the belly in. So we're just gonna generate some energy. This is the power center, as I said. So we're gonna bring that energy into our field, into our body. Okay. So on the exhale, draw it in, inhale, let it out. We're just gonna do it for about a minute. You can also bring the arms up, stretch up, 60-degree angle, fingertips on the mounts of the fingers. If you haven't done this breath of fire before, you can do it slowly first. A little bit more, keep going. Energize that navel point. We're creating some energy and purifying. And we're charging the aura. So this position of the arms, it charges our aura, electromagnetic field around us. Good. Deep inhale. Connect thumbs over the head. Suspend the breath. Elongate the spine. Hold. Hold as long as you can. And exhale. Beautiful. Inhale again, suspend the breath, contract everything below the belly button like a root lock or kegels. Bring your chin in, bring the eyes up to the point between the eyebrows. Exhale, relax. We'll do it again. So what we're doing now, we're activating that energy from the base of the spine to start circulating. So now as we inhale, contract the root lock. So we're contracting the perineum muscles, contracting the sex organs and anus. So that helps us to activate the energy and start moving it up. So let's do it. Deep inhale. Activate the root lock. Bring the chin in, roll the eyes up to the point between the eyebrows. You can even press up with the tongue. So we're activating this ajna chakra and pituitary gland. Exhale, relax. And we'll do it one more time. Inhale. Suspend, activate the root lock, activate the chin lock, roll the eyes, press up with the tongue. And exhale, relax. Now let's keep the awareness at the point between the eyebrows. Observing. So from that point, we're observing what's happening in a psychic, in a mind, observing the thoughts, observing the sensations in the body, observing our emotions. So this is the state of observer or witness consciousness. So this is our inner masculine. This is the energetic container that can hold us in. And we're also going to call in the divine masculine, the Shiva consciousness. So I'm inviting you to bring attention to the top of the head. It's like multi-petal lotus, the Sahasrara chakra. And just calling in, like energetically invite the divine masculine and feel that light entering through the top of the head and also creating that energetic container around you, that cocoon, the golden cocoon of energy that holds you. And feeling your own inner masculine that holds it all, absorbs it all. Connecting to the stillness. So the masculine corresponds to that cosmic nothingness and total stillness. So this is like universal masculine. Connecting with the stillness by keep focusing between the eyebrows, observing like the clouds in the sky. So the thoughts might come and go, the feelings might come and go, but you are connected to the sky itself, right? So the cosmic consciousness, observing, containing everything within. And everything that we are absorbing, all the life within us, this is the feminine, the Shakti. We can bring attention to the base of the spine, gently contract that root lock again. Feel the energy activated there, the Kundalini energy, the original primal energy, and the primal creative force. Kundalini Shakti, so feminine energy known as Shakti. So now we're inviting the divine feminine coming from the earth and allow it to move your body. Just follow wherever it leads you into. The feminine is the body, the feminine is the expansion, the constant change, the constant dance, the constant flow. Just allow yourself to flow with these energies. And now feel your feminine being held by the masculine. You can even create, like, hold yourself like this, or maybe bring one hand on your heart behind and one in front. Or just, you can do this mudra with your arms. So anything that helps you to feel held. So feeling the firm and loving embrace by the inner masculine that holds you, keeps you safe, that honors you, that loves you, that wants to protect and provide for you. It's your inner masculine. It's your own having your own back. And energetically, just being that observer. So containing everything within your consciousness, containing, getting connected to that stillness while you're allowing yourself to feel the feelings. So allow your feminine to relax. So allow it to move again. See if she can relax more into the masculine embrace. Notice if she feels safer. More flowing. If she can be softer, she feels safe to be soft, to be relaxed, to be held. And from the depths of your heart, this wave of deep appreciation for the masculine, for his containment, for his embrace, for his protection, for him showing up for her, for his presence. So much appreciation, so much love. And now feeling your masculine consciousness getting even more into this purpose. Now he has the purpose. Without feminine, masculine is dead. The Shiva is dead without Shakti. Shakti gives him the reason to be alive. So feel that within yourself, that masculine consciousness. Feel so much love towards the feminine, the devotion. She gives him purpose. She gives him that inspiration. He is delighted seeing her in her flow, seeing her in her pleasure. Her pleasure, her joy inspires him. And she is feeling now even more precious, more valued, more adored and cherished. How does it feel in your body? Just connect with that feeling. Feeling held, feeling adored, feeling fully chosen, completely fully chosen, feeling relaxed in being your feminine. Connecting back to the masculine consciousness, rising even more in your purpose, feeling your drive, feeling your directions, becoming that leader as the feminine in you can relax even more, trusting his guidance, trusting his leadership, trusting his provision. Feeling this energy starting dancing within yourself as your feminine rising up from the base of the spine and animating your body, and as your masculine, the cosmic consciousness, the stillness, absorbing and holding it all in the loving embrace. Feeling them dancing together, containing each other now, loving each other, trusting each other. And allow yourself to now rest in your heart. Feel these energies moving and resting now in your heart center. The alchemical marriage is happening right there within yourself. Opening up a new state for you. The state of loving consciousness, where this union, it becomes oneness. Feminine is love, masculine is consciousness. When we go beyond the duality in a heart, in the space of the heart, the space of unity, we go beyond the duality and it becomes one. It becomes loving consciousness. So now we go beyond men and women, masculine and feminine. The space of lovedom, I call it loving consciousness, is opening up for you. When your love is expanding from your heart in all directions, and your consciousness is containing all of life with so much peace and stillness and groundedness. Allow yourself to rest in this space. This is your home. This is your birthright to be connected to this high frequency of loving consciousness. Keep resting in this space. From this space, you can even give birth to different desires. They are more connected to your heart, so they're more purified. You might notice that actually you desire something different. You go beyond the egoic desires. You go more into how can I serve the world better? How can I serve the joy in myself and others better? How can I live more as this loving consciousness? Because this is so much joy and you want to be in it as much as you can and you want to ignite it in others as much as you can. Remind them that this is their birthright. Let's take a deep inhale together. Exhale. 2 more deep inhales like this. And exhale. One more time. Inhale, reach up with the arms, maybe do a bit of shaking, movement, just coming back. All right. Okay, my dears, thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed the meditation. Let me know if you felt anything, if you connected to that state of love down. And yes, you're welcome to join the Inner Alchemy program. I will send you details, but you can also click the link. And yeah, thank you for staying. It's been longer than I planned. Okay, thank you, thank you. All right, thank you guys. Okay, we're gonna close it for now. Love you all and hope to see you again. Bye.